Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 246. I trust you all are doing well. Those of you in the Pacific Northwest, I hope you're staying cool as this freakish heat wave comes and roasts our buns a bit. Yum. I want to thank you all for what you're doing to promote the Moose Podcast. I am truly grateful and touched. Some of you really make a difference, so thank you. Also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. Not only did they get the new Z105 Micro into my hands, PDQ, and boy, is that a great lens. If you haven't noticed, head to the website. You'll see that Bedfords and I are joining forces to bring you the Moose Peterson Aviation Seminar. You can come in person in the classroom and learn at the Tulsa store, or at the very same time I'm doing that, we're going to simultaneously broadcast online. It's going to be a big class. I'm going to cover everything you might have seen in my book, Takeoff, everything you might have read on the blog, and 100% more. It's going to be a great day of learning. I hope you click on that link, sign up, and join us one way or the other. And remember, when you head to Bedford's to make those purchases, like I did with my 105 Micro, yep, you guessed it. It was easy for me to remember the name of that special discount code, MOOSE. Save you money, save you money. Bedford's Camera, great place. Let's get right into this week's podcast, which I'm going to be upfront with you. I am still, even though I know what I want to say, I don't know how I want to say it. Because in some part of me, I know that I'm going to probably tromp on somebody's feelings. And if I do, my sincere apologies to begin with. But please, you got to see the light. Please. Now, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the same thing I talk about every week, now a little bit more emphatically in a different way. And that's the one element that drives photography. No matter what else you might think, there's one thing you have to have in your photograph to be successful. That's light. L-I-G-H-T. Light. Okay? I just see a lot of folks out there doing a marvelous job sharing their photographs through all the different media streams that are possible. And I then see the story not reaching its potential, not grabbing the heartstrings, really getting passed up very quickly. And it comes down to that one essential element, light. Now, personal example, if you are trying to photograph the bitterroot, which is Montana's state flower, named after Meriwether Lewis, historic in the way it was, got them over the pass and a bunch of other things. If you try to photograph that flower, you know that it doesn't like great light. In fact, it comes up and opens its blossoms for a short period of time in the nastiest of light. And once it feels like it's dried out, it then closes back up and starts its own little moisture factory that goes on until the very next day when it opens up briefly again. And that's it. That's all it does. And it's a gorgeous flower, and the root is medicinal. It's a food source. But if you want to photograph them blossoms, you got to do it in the nastiest light of the day. You have two options. You could shoot the nastiest light of the day and then use that excuse. And I'm going to use the word excuse a lot because, a lot of people have excuses when it comes to their shitty light in their photographs. And you could photograph that bitterroot and say, yeah, I want to be true to the flower and shoot in that nasty light. And while that might be biologically correct, 99.9% of the people who look at the picture are going to just flip the page of that magazine or not give a hoot, because who wants to see a flower blossom all blown out in contrasty, nasty light? That's not how people think about flower blossoms. So then you might have to write text to bring that point of light to light, and tell people, yeah, I actually use a light modifier and I use a little scrim or something. So the flower looks great, but it was really shot this nasty part of the day. What's my point? You gotta see the light to see the light. There's a lot of things that happen out there in the world that do not happen at the greatest time of light. Doesn't mean you stop shooting. It means you have to work the scenario as a professional, and you have to work it as an emotional, and you have to work it as a passionate photographer that you then wrap up in that click when you present it to the world. There's nothing worse. I'm sorry, there is absolutely nothing worse than a photograph that somebody puts into a digital darkroom and they just go, yeah, something's not right. They don't have a clue what it is. And they go willy-nilly on sliders and vignettes and all this other BS that's possible. And they go, okay, it looks better. And they put it out there. And, the spouse says, oh, that's great. The friends say it's great. And somebody like me looks at it and go, no. It's the light. Why didn't it look good on your computer monitor? It's the light. And here's the thing. If you don't start becoming a student of light, thinking about that light, chasing that light, you'll never see the light. If you don't see the light, A, you're not going to get it in the viewfinder. B, you won't get it in the capture. And C, you damn well won't finish for it in the computer. So D, you come up with Now, my current rant about this is I've seen a number of photographs from scenarios where either A, I was present at the time, or B, I knew what they were shooting under because I'd done that before in that place. And I looked at the photograph and I want to jump through my computer monitor and reach through the internet cable and grab the photographer, shake him by the shoulders and go, what were you thinking? First and foremost, if the light's nasty and it's hard, and how do you know if it's hard? Well, you look at your shadow. If there's a hard edge to that shadow, it's hard light. If you look at your shadow and it's a soft edge, it's kind of soft light. There's the first lesson. You start thinking about that. So you see that hard light and you go, oh, it's hard light. I've got a dark shadow. Well, if that's the case, let's really work with that dark shadow. We have to know that with that hard light, what else happens? The colors start to get washed out. How do you bring colors back and deal with it? You underexpose, man. Underexpose. Dial at minus third of a stop in if your aperture priority. If you're in a manual mode, come to the 21st century, get used to the computer and the camera, and then dial in exposure compensation. Okay? If it's already nasty light, can you make it worse? Yeah, if you record it as nasty light, what if you sit there and underexpose it? Well, then maybe it won't be as nasty. Maybe the colors will be a little more punchy. Maybe the photograph will reach a few more people's heartstrings. What if you go out and it's overcast? Let's go from the complete opposite, from nasty high noon to overcast. Now, some overcast is that really gorgeous saturated light where colors just ooze out the pixels, man. It's just like you put the print in the wall and it just starts oozing color. It's gorgeous stuff, man. And you sit there and you think you're bejiggers and you shoot like a madman. Then there's overcast where it's just bum, 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 bum. Everything's blue and gray. And, well, what do? Well, the first thing you do is you got to think about the light. What can you do with the light? Well, one, what about the white balance? That incredibly important part of light is the color of that light, which changes nonstop. The amount of people who A, are totally lost when it comes to white balance, B, try to fix it in post, and C, don't give a damn, well, that has to do with a lot of photographs I think I've been seeing. How can you not be in tune with white balance? Now, as my wife pointed out again this week, I have a really acute, oversensitive, dramatic sensation and presence and love affair with light. Not everybody has that. I understand that. But if your photographs are falling flat and you're in there doing willy-nilly with sliders, that's, a great, hint that you need to learn light. Best lens on the planet, the most amazing camera body, the greatest, filter plug-in ain't gonna make up for the fact that your sense of light sucks. Okay? So that white balance, what does it do? Oh, man, it does everything. Just watch a movie. Watch how they move your emotions around just with white balance, from cold light to warm light. They mix the light. I mean, it's all about grabbing your emotions through the senses that we all have, but not everybody. Thank you, Sharon, for pointing out again, has the same acute awareness of light that I might have. I know I'm not alone on this. I had this discussion with a couple of my peers this week on this very topic. And we're all a little bit like, what's wrong with photographers today? So white balance, that overcast light, it's really blue. A lot of people can't see that blue. I understand that. Doesn't mean you can't begin to teach yourself. You have all these tools. Let me talk about one great tool that might help you. It might just help you. And I'm telling you now because I've been told that nobody wants to learn this in a class, so I might do it myself as a class. Adobe Camera Raw now, when you go in there, when you hold down that Shift key and you look at the basic panel, exposure and contrast and shadows and highlights and black and white, you'll see this thing that says Auto. And if you double click on the little triangle, the AI part of Adobe Camera Raw is going to go through its logarithms and really quickly go boom, boom, boom. This is what I think you're trying to do. Now, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But, I sit there and I double clicked a lot on the exposure when I first was tuned into this to see what it thought versus what I thought. And more importantly, what I felt when I took the picture. It was pretty close. It wasn't all the time, but it was within a third stop, a lot of what I thought was the right exposure. And then I open up shadows quite a bit, especially with aircraft. So I sat there and did some experimenting and excuse me, when I held down the shift and double clicked on the shadow, I was interested to see how much shadow it thought it needed, and then I did some printing, and I might have been bringing up the shadows maybe more technically than I should have. And the point is, this is all about light and how you tell a story and finish the photograph instead of putting some crappy vignette around some head. This program can start to teach you, 1, to see light, and 2, maybe not use sliders so much, and 3, maybe not use that slider at all. So then you go back out with that camera and you start exploring that light. Because when that's really overcast, your shadows, they're going to be muddy. Your highlights are going to be muddy. How do you bring that back up? You might overexpose. You might warm up the white balance. Instead of going at 3,000 or 4,000, maybe go 6,000. No, just don't go to the cloudy setting because it's cloudy. It doesn't work that way. I know some people teach you that, but I need you and your photography needs and the world needs for you to think through how you want to tell a story, and then you do accordingly based on your heart and how it connects to your brain. So I know you have the heart, and that's why I'm here still pulling for you, because I know you have the heart. It's that brain part that I need to help you with. And seeing light, yeah, it is just a freaking challenge. It really is. But I can tell, and I'm not the only one, when somebody looks at that photograph, you can just look at it and say they don't see the light. They just don't see the light. And if you don't see the light at capture, you're not going to see the light when you finish. And I'm talking about using the incredibly powerful tools we have in post to finish a photograph. Because you have to finish a photograph by finishing for the light. You finish for the light. If you're printing, you have to do a couple things for the subject. When it comes to finishing the photograph, period, you finish for the light. So if you don't see the light in the camera, you'll be frustrated at the computer, and that means, here come the sliders, zip, 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 zip. Now, as my dear friend would say, Photoshop is the adult video game, and that's cool. If that's your passion to play that game, then that is what you should stick with. But if your passion is to get out with that camera and capture the world you see and tell its story in your way and then bring that out and grab by the heartstrings, you're playing a different game and you have to play with different rules. And the first rule you need to understand is that thing called light. It's what drives it all. So please see the light. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you have a great week, and the 4th of July is coming up. Talk about great light. They're going to be exploding in the skies. You guys take care, and remember to make every click your story.